Welcome back to GUTV Bracketology. After a heartbreaking loss last week in Chicago, the Gonzaga men's basketball season came to an end. They return home Saturday morning, but are more than grateful for their support of their fans during this tournament run. Katie Carl has more in the tweet suite. Katie?
Was that being in Chicago, there really wasn't that much of a fan base there. I mean, there is the Alumni Association, but we don't have the Spokane community. So we decided to bring that support here. Robert Perry says, "Thank you for an incredible season. Keep your heads up and get ready for next year. Go Zags." Great job this year. We had a killer season, and I know we're ready for the next one to finish our unfinished business, from Rory Lowe. Gonzaga Bulldog Band says, "This was an incredible season. Expectations were surpassed in true Zag fashion. So much fun." I've been a part of Bulldog Band for 4 years now, and going all the way from Las Vegas to Denver to Chicago was amazing, and I really have to give thanks to the men's team for taking me there. So in that true fashion, Ryan, our basketball team, was able to also give their thanks. And Ryan Edwards from the basketball team says, "Thank you to the fans for giving us a reason to come out every week and give it our all. You guys are amazing. #UnitedWeZag." Now, I know Ryan is really going to give us a lot here at GUTV, as he is a student here. And we're really looking forward to where this team is going to end up next year and where they're going to send us. So now, back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Katie. As always, it's great to see the community come together even in a loss. Now here joining me is KHQ broadcaster and GUTV alum, Richard Fox. Thank you for being here, Richard.
Happy to be here. It's been a long time.
So, as always, the season for the Bulldogs seems to end a little earlier than we hoped. From watching that Syracuse game, what were some of your observations?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's always tough when you lose close in a tournament. I think you'd almost rather lose by double digits just to know that you got beat by a better team.
Like Utah.
Yeah, I'm sure Utah. That was a lot. I'm not sure they felt good. That was a pretty bad, a bad beatdown. But, you know, I looked at it going into the game. If they shot too many threes, I thought it would hurt them, and they shot, I think, over 20. Only got to the line, I want to say 5 times, and that's just, you've got to get to the free throw line, find some easy points, and they just turned it over too much. I mean, I think 17 turnovers, and when you're playing a good team like Syracuse, particularly against when you're playing a zone like Syracuse plays, it's unique. They're long. They do cause some turnovers, but 17 is way too many. A lot of those were unforced, and a lot of those were down the stretch. But, you know, I tip my hat to the group. I think, quite frankly, they overachieved. I think you get caught up in the run and you forget where they were maybe even a month prior.
Right.
There weren't a lot of people who thought they'd be a Sweet 16 team February 15th. So I thought it was a pretty impressive run down the stretch.
Yeah, it's although it was a heartbreaking loss. It's hard to complain with making it to the Sweet 16 after what the season looked like earlier. So we are actually going to head to Katie in the tweet suite. She has a few questions from some of our viewers.
All right, so let's do this.
Let's see. There she is.
Thank you, Reed. Francis asks, where does the Syracuse run rank among the other Cinderella stories like George Mason or Wichita State?
You know, I'm not sure that I would compare it to that, Wichita State and George Mason, just because Syracuse is such a brand. I mean, even though they're 11 seed, it's a bit unique this year with Boeheim being suspended, 9 games. I'm not sure their record actually indicates how good they are. So I'm not sure I would compare it to the run that those teams had, because you never would have expected those teams to get to the Final Four. While Syracuse, given their 11th seed and the fact they weren't great this year, you watch them play, it's pretty evident that they're an awfully talented group. So I'm not sure that's comparing apples to apples. It's still impressive, and I think most SAC fans are probably Syracuse fans at the moment. It'd be nice to see them pull it off, and it makes you feel a little better if you lose to the eventual national champion.
Yeah, and as one of our tweeters said, that Syracuse winning it all makes us look a little better because we almost beat Syracuse.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have another question from Katie in the tweet suite. Let's see what it is.
Thank you. The Bulldog Band asks, what was Gonzaga's most pivotal win this season?
Pivotal win. I think it's the BYU game down in Provo, quite frankly.
I agree.
You look at how they lost a lot of those games early in the year, particularly at home, down in St. Mary's, giving up leads late and having teams come back and just kind of take the game away. St. Mary's at home, they did not play well. So to go down there, really with your season on the line, you're going to have, once you lose to St. Mary's at home, you need to win the WCC championship. It would not have been hard to go down to Provo and not play as well as they did, knowing that it really all rests in Vegas. I thought it was impressive the fact that they were able to win a tough game on the road. That's their senior night. And I think it's interesting, last year, that Elite Eight team, in my view, they don't make that run without losing at home to BYU. Sometimes you need that moment to kind of reset things and get you refocused. I think the inverse is true as well. Getting over the hump for this year's team, I think, gave them a ton of confidence, and you really saw it after that game.
And talking about that hump, what's it like, maybe as your experience as a basketball player, dealing with that pressure? Because there's a lot of pressure, especially on our guards this year, that we might not make the tournament after 17 straight years.
Well, I can't imagine what that pressure's like, just because when I was here, it was still really early in the run. And I remember my junior year, we were an at-large bid. We lost to San Diego down in San Diego in the WCC championship game and played awful. I want to say we had 9 losses, and I believe we were a 9 seed. And we were sweating bullets the whole week. We were the last group to be announced. So the run could have easily ended that year. So I'm sure it's a very real pressure for this group of kids and going forward to keep that streak alive, and it's not going to go on forever. So I can't really understand how hard that would be. But I think as a player, and I think fans maybe don't always understand this, you put more pressure on yourself than anybody externally could. You know when you're not playing well. You know when you're not doing the right things, so the things rather that you need to do to win games. So I'm sure those kids felt a lot of pressure, and I think you saw that relief when they beat BYU. There was just this pure joy, this relief that, okay, we could actually do this. But to your question, I can't imagine what the pressure's like to keep the streak alive.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure for those players.
Yeah.
So you are a great broadcaster for KHQ. You play basketball here.
I would say I'm okay.
You do all right.
Do all right.
But I think my favorite thing about you is that you are a GUTV alum.
Absolutely,
yeah. I've heard you did great things here. You didn't happen to have any footage on you from your times here, do you?
I know Professor Dan texted me today, and I told him I don't carry it with me. So I think I might have some at home, but I don't have. Please tell me you don't actually have it.
You know what? You're in luck, because we actually do have some footage that we do just want to revisit some fun memories with you.
Okay, let's take a look.
Well, yeah, it's coming in a second, but what were some of your favorite moments in GUTV?
I don't know if the group of you guys now can understand. Professor Dan got to the program, and to say that it wasn't very high level would be an understatement. It was, quite frankly, not very good. And he brought his energy is what turned it around. And we had really low budget equipment. We could do one show maybe a week, if that. All of us really were doing. Most of us took that degree because it was something to do. Oh my God!
This is from the show Get Down.
Eric Anderson. Yeah. So this is like kind of our. I don't want to say our. Prime time show, but this was definitely. We put a lot of effort into this, and I think I co-hosted this with Sean Ryan. You have to understand how low budget. And look at that hair. Oh my God! Now, if I could go back and do anything over again, I would have done a better job with that. Yeah, Sean Ryan. He did TV for a while, and I think now he's working for JCPenney's, an executive with them, something in marketing. And you can see you guys are wearing suits, ties. This is dressed
I was talking with my co-host. We actually admired the fact that you got to wear jeans and T-shirts.
Now, the jerseys in the back, those are just our stuff.
Okay.
We had nothing professional. We had to just put it together, and we did this show. We spoofed this off of Jay Leno when he walks the street. I cannot confirm or deny that I've had a few drinks here.
I'm 21. I can confirm that I know where this is.
Yeah, I can confirm those nachos were really good. These two girls were good friends. That's Jeanne. I really just interviewed my friends. We were all inside, and I said, hey, I got to go outside, and we got to do this spot. And at one point, I think I don't know who that is. That could just be a spoken night. But my brother was on this one time. I'd get former players. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. And the fact that Dan would let us do this.
Oh yeah.
In hindsight, I'm sure he's cringing right now. This is definitely a spoken night. Wow.
Yeah, I don't think that guy is a super senior. I think he's just a senior in general, a senior citizen. So how does your fun time with this prepare you for your job now in sports broadcasting?
I think if anything, having gone through the program, I realized how much fun it was to put on something on television. And it's not fun because you're on TV and people get to see you. I think I just enjoyed working with my friends. And I'm sure you get that here too. I mean, these are people you hang out with, not just in class, but we're a really small group. For me, kind of selfishly at the time, it was a group of people outside of basketball that I was close to. I think sometimes you get so insulated with your team that it was just a lot of fun to have buddies that I go to Jack and Dan's with and make kind of a fool out of myself. But I learned to love, or I grew to love not to be over the top, but the art of television, what goes into putting it together. And I found I was comfortable talking in front of a camera, and sometimes that's the most important thing, not being self-conscious, and it's worked out okay.
I couldn't agree more. So thank you so much for being
here,
Richard. It was
anytime,
great.
bud.
It was great visiting some old memories, hearing about.
Had I known that was going to be on TV, I'm not sure I'd be here. But that's
well, that's how we get them. We always have to trick our guests. We're now going to go back to Andrew as more about our next GUTV Bracketology show. Andrew?
Thank you for tuning in tonight. Our last episode of GUTV Bracketology for the season will be held on Wednesday, April 6th at 5 p.m. There's still time to donate, and to do so, go to commerce.cashnet.com/urgutv. Thank you and good night.